It's Dr. Tongue's 3D House of Collectible Toys. Ooh, it's gonna be real scary. Oh, I had that. I had that. Oh, I had that. Oh, I've had that. Oh, I had that. I'm Mark Peterson. I'm the owner of Dr. Tongue's I Had That shop, and we're located right here in Portland, Oregon. The way I like to describe it, it's a museum and everything's for sale. I mean, I have some pretty weird crap in the store. It's like Lydia Dietz said in Beetlejuice.
I myself am strange and unusual.
It's just stuff that brings back memories, and it's just fun stuff. I've always liked toys. I've always bought toys. I've always had toys. I've always played with toys. You know, I wasn't a privileged kid, but I was like, I had some toys when I grew up. I grew up as a monster kid. Back in '93, I wasn't sure if vintage toys was going to be a viable thing, but I went to my mom and said, Mom, I want to open my own business. I can't remember, I think I borrowed $1,500 from them. And I had outgrown the space in a year and had made plans to move to a larger space, but stayed because the rent was so cheap. I closed the first shop down in 2005, and that was due to, you know, a little hiccup in the economy. I regretted it, and I regret it to this day. And I took 10 years off and worked for other people, and it's not the freedom to do what I wanted to do and surrounded by things that I really do enjoy. And you know, my wife said, you know, I think it's time to reopen the store. I'm 5 years into the new one and couldn't be happier. I was trying to come up with a name for the original shop way back in the 90s, and I was a huge Second City television fan. They had Joe Flaherty, who would come out dressed as Dracula.
Count Floyd here, reminding you to stay tuned to Monster Chiller Horror Theater this Saturday night, when we'll be presenting a 3D classic, Dr. Tongue's 3D House of Stewardesses.
John Candy played a character called Dr. Tongue, and they always did like bad horror movie takeoffs. He was dressed, basically he was doing a huge Ernie Kovacs impression.
Oh, I pity the abstainer.
Turn those stewardesses into zombies. Now they'll obey our every command. The only problem is I think the experiment worked too well.
Would you like another screwdriver, Doctor?
No, we've got a lot here and we don't need any.
Why don't we leave these ones with you in case you feel like one later?
Yes, of course.
I became Dr. Tongue. That's where the name of the shop came from.
Pushing crash plate, but the pigs have their own. Mean winner!
Screenshots!
This is kind of one of the more rare items I have in the shop. I came across this in an antique mall locally and was just kind of like, it's weird. It looks like a street shark. It's a factory mold. You turn it over and your latex was poured into here and so you could cure it. They would take, you know, mold the arms separately, and then they were pinned to the puppet, and the arms would hang down like this. And it had hard plastic teeth that were molded separately that were put into the rubber puppet, and that's how you made the hand puppet. Well, this is out of my own personal collection. You know, it's not in the store, so don't come in looking for it, okay? I collect monster stuff, and this is from the Rankin and Bass Mad Monster Party. This is an original Spanish one sheet. You know, it's actually featured in Rick Goldschmidt's book on Mad Monster Party, because at the time, he's like the authority on Rankin and Bass. He hadn't seen one before, and he actually had me take pictures of it and he put it in the book. This store, I've got a corner of like memorabilia. It's what I call classic kitsch. And it's goofy stuff. And that's the best way to describe kitsch. It's just goofy. And at certain times in history, you know, like within, you know, the stuff that I carry is basically 50s to 90s. You know, we were talking like Johnny Ice Bucket. It's a toilet ice bucket. There's still stuff that I'll get in and I'm like, wow, I haven't thought of that in years. And it's like, this is kind of cool. So we all have our stories, and I have them myself. You know, just toys and this kind of stuff just brings back memories, and hopefully they're happy.